Good day, everyone. My name is Christelle Faith Villaron, and I'm from Grade 6 Section Orion. And today, I'm going to read you all a story. The title of the story is The Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there lived a little girl. This girl wore a red riding hood at all times. That's why everybody used to call her Little Red Riding Hood. Darling! Yes, Mommy. You know your grandmother is very ill. Would you take care of the cookies I baked and the fresh herb I picked from the woods? Yes, Mommy, I will. The little girl with her red riding hood as always started her journey to her grandmother's house. Do not leave the road in the Belly Forest, sweetheart. Don't talk to strangers, okay? Said her mother. As she was leaving, Little Red Riding Hood started walking inside the forest and joyously singing songs. I wonder why they call it a bunny forest. I haven't seen any bunnies around here. Little Red Riding Hood came to a road filled with flowers, and there are different kinds of flowers. I think I should pick some flowers for my grandmother. She'll be very pleased. Well, Little Red Riding Hood was picking flowers, and she did not realize that she was drifting away from her path. At that moment, she heard a sound coming from the bushes. Hurrah! Suddenly, a big bad wolf approached in front of her. Little Red Riding Hood was so scared that when she saw the big bad wolf right in front of her eyes, she dropped the basket that she was carrying. The big bad wolf jumped closer to her and collected the cookies that she dropped from the basket and gave them back to Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood was so amazed by these unexpected gestures from the wolf. Thank you. Where are you heading, little girl? To my grandmother's house, the yellow house, at the end of the forest. She is not feeling well, so I'm bringing her cookies and healthier. Really? By the way, you can call me Little Red Riding Hood. Everybody asked us. I'll head on first to let your grandmother know that you're on your way so that you can continue picking beautiful flowers. Right at that moment, he heard a gunshot approaching Hunter's rifle and ran away as fast as he could. Little Red Riding Hood looked around at that moment and started crying, realizing that she was lost. Hearing her crying, the hunter approached and came next to her. What are you doing alone here, little girl? It is very dangerous around here. I'm looking for a big bad wolf whom I've been hunting for a really long time. Little Red Riding Hood was very ashamed because she had not listened to her mother and left the road in a bunny forest, so she could not tell the hunter that she had met the wolf. Well, I was bringing cookies to my ill grandmother living at the end of the forest, and I got lost. Let me bring you to your grandma's home then. They started walk together, and right then, the big bad wolf took a shortcut and quickly made it to her grandmother's house. He knocked at the door. On the door, her grandmother said, "Who is it?" The wolf changing his voice. "It's me, Grandma, Little Red Riding Hood. I brought you cookies and fresh flowers from the woods." "The door is open, my dear. You can come in." The wolf smirked and stormed into the door. When a while later, then a Little Red Riding Hood and the hunter arrived into grandmother's house. "Go, little girl. Go next to your grandmother's as soon as possible." Uh-huh. The hunter went back on his way. Little Red Riding Hood knocked on the door. Her grandmother yelled from inside. "Who is it?" "It's me, grandmother. It's me, Little Red Riding Hood." "The door is open. open, my darling. You can come in. Little Red Riding Hood hesitated for a moment because the sound that she heard was still different from her grandmother. But she remembered that her grandmother is very ill. But grandmother probably sounds like that because she is very ill. Little Red Riding Hood opened the door and went in. The wolf, dressed like in grandmother's clothing, with her nightcap and her glasses, was lying in bed. He also closed the drapes so that it will become dark inside, and Little Red Riding Hood could not recognize him. I thank you, darling, for coming all the way here to bring me food. Come next to me so that I can give you a hug. Come, darling, come closer. Little Red Riding Hood left the basket on the floor, but she did not get too close to the bed because her grandmother looked different. Grandmother, why are your arms so long? So that I can hold you better. Grandmother, why are your ears so big? So that I can hear you better. But why are your eyes so huge? So that I can see you better. Grandmother, why are your teeth so sharp? So that I can eat you better. Roar! The wolf jumped out of the bed and jumped at Little Red Riding Hood. Ah! Help! So at that moment, Little Red Riding Hood realized that it wasn't her grandmother lying in the bed, but instead, it's the big bad wolf she had to run into along the way. The hunter heard the Little Red Riding Hood scream, "Help! Help me!" and ran straight to the house, stormed into the open door, and caught the wolf immediately. I finally got you, big bad wolf. Now you are in my hands. The hunter cut the wolf's belly and rescued the grandmother. Thank you for saving us, Mr. Hunter. You're welcome. But promise me, little girl, that you will never forget what your mother asked you. With a great appetite, Grandmother ate all the cookies that Little Red Riding Hood had brought her, boiled a healthy bird and a cup of tea, and instantly got well. Little Red Riding Hood promised her grandmother that she will never fall into the words of the bad wolf again. Little Red Riding Hood was walking into the forest once again, singing along merrily. As she ran into the forest once again, she met the wolf. Again, the wolf punished the hunter to clean the forest, and he was very ashamed about what he did and what he saw the Little Red Riding Hood. The bunny became full of joy. Bunnies, flowers like it was once before. The moral lesson of this story is that you must never talk to strangers. Even a friendly strangers may have a bad intentions. If your mother, father, or teachers will give you instructions, then you must obey them for you to be safe. Obeying the advice or instruction can keep you away from harm. So, this story also brings out the importance of obeying your parents. Thank you for listening.